folks, it's 2Bricks and I'm back with the next update to my custom LAAT gunship, and boy howdy, I could not be more excited. So much progress has been made since the first week. I've had so many interesting, tricky challenges that I've figured out and cracked the code to, and I just can't wait to kind of dive in and spill all the secrets and show you guys what I've been up to with this design, because it's honestly coming along better than I could have possibly hoped. And you know, that's what you always want, right? You feel like you start something out and it's a bit daunting and you're just not sure what's going to come of it, and then things just start to fall into place and you feel really good about it. So I'm really excited to show you guys all the updates today. If you haven't seen part 1, check that out, because that'll kind of give you the foundation, the groundwork for what I've been doing here so far. Obviously, another caveat, as I did last week, everything that you see technically is temporary. Even the parts that I say are done are probably subject to change. And then there's certain things, like you see these gray arch pieces through this door section here. Those are temporary because I'm waiting for parts to come in. So you may see a few off colors and things that look a bit weird, but for the most part, you should be looking at basically finished colors, unless I call it out, probably. But yeah, so let's dive in and take a look at all the different updates that have been done, because as you can see here, the whole body has really been fleshed out, including the doors and all that stuff. So yeah, let's get in and see the updates. So sitting on the table strewn in front of me, you can see I still have my random uncompleted bits, which I'm mainly just keeping together so that I don't lose them in the course of building this. But I did manage to get the correct colors for this whole engine section right here. So what you're looking at is a completed, or not engine, I keep calling them that, they're rocket launchers. But yeah, you're looking at a completed, fully colored rocket launcher piece right here, including with the black fez and everything, to give it that very slight taper as it goes back into that 1x1 brick with the modified studs on all sides. And I think it looks absolutely fantastic. And you know, for kind of context, here is roughly where it'll end up on the model, so you can kind of get a sense of how it's going to be. So yeah, I think that's going to work out just great. And then yeah, just some other kind of unattached bits that I showed you that last week. And then this is the back hatch, which is going to eventually sit on here. I'm still figuring that out, but you know, just things that are in progress. So we can move all those out of the way and we can take a look at the actual ship. So today I have the ship just elevated on a couple of trans clear bricks down at the bottom there, just so that it has that nice feeling of just hovering right above the ground. And you can get a sense for how sturdy it is as well, because it's just, you know, it's not going anywhere. Now, I say sturdy. The internal structure of this is incredibly sturdy, but a lot of the side panels are still yet to be fully figured out. That having been said, though, I did manage to lock down this front section, which previously was only attached with a single stud here up at the front. Now, underneath here, I have a couple of droid arms that are clicked into a bar that is keeping this all nice and secure in here. So that is working out absolutely great. There's your 2 pilots in there. They look absolutely fantastic. I did make a small change to this back canopy section here. So what I ended up doing is actually inverting the bricks. You can see there the studs right down there. I actually ended up inverting the angle of this brick and using upside down, sorry, this focus is terrible today, there you go, using upside down sloped pieces instead. And the effect that that had was to raise the top line of this up ever so slightly. You can see there by approximately half a plate. And what that did is it gave some extra clearance at the bottom so that this section doesn't hit the clones' heads quite so easily, because as you can see there, it's already, oh my goodness, there we go. It's already touching the bottom of that stud there on the top of the ridge of the clone's head, and previously it was worse, and it was actually causing this whole section to sit up just like this, basically, because the clone was actually pushing that up. So this works out a lot better, and I'm very happy with that solution. It actually ended up being a super simple thing, and just occurred to me one day, and I ran up here and I was like, oh, quick, let me try this out, switch it around, and it worked. So very happy about that. And as you can see, we've also gone ahead and moved backwards down the kind of neck of the ship there. This is an incomplete door that should have been discarded with my other pieces. But yeah, so I've gone ahead and completed this section for now. I have a couple of different color swaps that I'm going to be making for this section, but this is the very finely angled tapered piece that runs down the back of the spine, connecting these angled side pieces. So you get that really beautiful subtle angle that runs right the way down there. And again, currently it is only temporarily attached back here with a single bar piece on a droid arm, but I'm actually going to pull that off and show you guys how I did this. And I'm basically using every trick in the book that I could think of to angle to be able to give legal connections for all of these parts. So I'm using droid arms in here with the sideways arm, you know, or the hands that are oriented in opposite directions to be able to connect these bar pieces that have a single stud in here to connect this side portion. And then down here at the front, using these bar pieces with the stud on the end enables me to get a very subtle angle through there that enables these clips to hold onto it. And then also, yeah, using basically lots of tricks to get the plates in the middle to connect right down the middle of this spine here. So this is definitely not a finalized piece. This is what I would consider to be a prototype, but it's a pretty close approximation of what will probably end up being the final part. It's roughly the right size and it has roughly the right color. So the way that this all comes together as well in order to allow all of these panels to live happily next to one another is very, very fun to see. All the different angles of clips and bars and various orientation of things. So yeah, that's very cool. And then this just slides down very neatly over the top. And the angles meet up beautifully along the side there, and I do love to see it. This one piece here has been knocked slightly loose, so that is the reason for it not meeting up quite right. Go ahead and see if I can fix that really quick. It's going to bug me for the rest of the video. So yeah, just some parts got squeezed a little too hard down in there, and that's what caused that to happen. And then you just slide this back down into place. So obviously, come the final design, this will be all fleshed out to the degree that it needs to be held in place very nicely and securely. But yeah, using the panel technique and the curved bricks down the side here, which of course I cannot take credit for. A lot of people have done similar things. I can't speak to everybody else's solutions for this section because I haven't actually looked at what anyone else did in specific. But for me, what I have going so far is working out pretty well, and I'm pretty happy with it. So yeah, I actually also finished out this pillar right here, which last week was in progress. So we have the beautiful arrangement of brackets and plates, and there's actually a handle that exists on this column in the actual ship for people to grab onto as they exit and enter the ship. So I decided to include that. And then also the little kind of yellow design with even with the little break in the middle of between the two portions of the design, which is very, very faithful to what we see in the movie. And then just the arm is able to slide in here absolutely perfectly. The redesigned arm, so it's actually much, much more simple now. It just relies on these two old Exoforce robot arm pieces. I think that's what they were back in the day, but basically they're reinforced droid arms that have enough strength in them to hold up the entire bubble turret there. So very pleased with that. And then that just gives it that nice narrow profile so that it can slip in and out of the little channel here that exists for it to have the maximum mobility. And of course you can also see the bubble turret exists in white. I got my parts orders in for the flex tubes in white. I had to do very minimal cutting for these. So both of these are from the recent Titanic set, which came with a bunch of these in white. So they are actually pretty readily available on the secondary market. And then you just have to cut off two studs worth of length from these to get them to fit exactly where they need to go. And now that I've seen it in white, actually in my mind there's no contest. I think white is definitely my preference by like a lot, by like a big margin, because the way that all of these pieces all just kind of seem to meld together, like the clips and with the bars, whereas with the gray they kind of stood out a little bit to me and it was kind of drawing my eye to it. I think that's really what's clinched it for me. I'm definitely going to go with white. Of course, you are free to substitute any color that you choose when you come to build your own version, but for me, that's the winner. And then moving back down into the troop cargo bay area, there's been a ton of work that's been done in here, of course. So now we have a completed back door, which still is able to hinge down very nicely. We have the little stopper thing here for the, I guess, I'm going to say that is for the speeder bikes to kind of rest up against, even though I'm not 100% sure exactly what that is for. It could also be for to stop cargo from like coming out of the back of the door here when it's not supposed to. I'm actually not entirely sure, but it's represented in there as faithfully as I could get it based on lots and lots of reference that I've been looking at. We have these nice handrail sections up here that are faithfully detailed up, including like these ingot pieces are such a perfect way to represent that very unique shape that exists in kind of these middle sections in between these railings here, so I really like that. And then I've also attached the cargo net. So this is a regular net piece folded in half and then attached, just pinned into place using these bars that run through and then studs on the outside, and that works absolutely great. And it doesn't interfere with the opening and closing of the door, which is the main criteria for all of this. So the door is now built and it has a little handle in the front and it has the tiny little rockets on the inside here. I'll show you this from the other side in a second so you can kind of get a better look at the inside of this. But most importantly, it swings in the kind of minivan style that you can see down in here. So I have two Technic arms that are attached to this that allow this to just swing very satisfyingly back and forth like that, and it just tucks in to place absolutely beautifully, and it just looks great. And figuring out the geometry to get all of this to meet up with that, and also with this angled section. So this is flat, or this is relatively, what do you call that? This is running parallel to the whole kind of frame of the ship, whereas this section is angled, and then finding out how to get that to meet up there as seamlessly as possible. Very, very tricky as well, but I'm really happy with it. So yeah, when you close up this door, you can see down in here I have a very subtle angle outward for these support pieces to the side, and that really gives the ship a really wonderful sense of polish towards the back end where everything just goes a little bit off stud. And I'm using obviously ball joint pieces to achieve those angles, and then just covering up some of the gaps here with some, like this curved cutout piece, wedge piece back here, attached in with a bracket to just kind of close this up as best as I can. And I was tinkering with a way to close up this gap as much as I possibly could, but the problem with doing that is that the doors have a harder time lifting outwards and having the clearance to come back. So I actually decided to just leave the gap as it is, because it really does improve the functionality of the doors when this isn't absolutely seamless back here. So that is, I'm going to call that a cheat for functionality's sake, and I'm just going to let it be. And I'm really happy that I was able to get the line of the door here to just step up towards the back here just a little bit. You can see there's a one plate difference between this line and this line. That just kind of is a nod to the fact that this center line of the ship is constantly rising as it comes up towards the back. And I just think it looks absolutely incredible. So happy with that. Cannot wait to get these white arch pieces in here to really take in the full final look of the door, all in white, in its full glory. So that's going to be great. And because this is attached all using Technic, there's not really an issue with like sagging or anything like that. It's pretty sturdy and it works reliably every time. So really, really happy with that. So let me show you the door from the other side. And I actually did purposely leave off the detailing on the other side so that you can kind of get a look at the exposed Technic frame there. So these are the arms that will attach to the door once it's built. So we have the little control panel in there for the clone troopers to fire off these excess rockets down there. There's no wire that goes between them that attaches it, because I just couldn't find a really good way to do that didn't just rely on copying what Rich Boy J did, so I have my own solution. But I think mine does have one advantage, which is that the two rockets are identical as they're meant to be, rather than one being that welding torch piece, which, while it is very, very clever and works extremely well for what it's supposed to represent, it would bug me and my OCD brain that they're not the same. So I'm just going to go ahead and call that done on that, because there's a wire. You can just imagine that it's an internal structure and you're fine. And then yeah, just the ability for figures to hang on to this netted section there and have it be kind of in the right spot for them to do so feels really nice and very, very satisfying indeed. And then when you open these doors, I'll just open it from the other side, you can see the look. There you go, from the inside. Very nice and open, and I love it. So there you go. So moving all the way to the back now, you can see I have a nice big open section, and like I alluded to before, that is going to be filled by a section that looks something like this, with some vents in the middle there, which are currently not in place. And you can see here how I've achieved the side angles, and all of this is incredibly sturdy. All of this Technic frame that runs right the way through here in order to allow what will eventually be a carrying handle here, I believe, to be able to lift up the whole ship from the back here. All that had to be incredibly rigid. And then I'm just attaching these exterior panels up here. And then this is all built sideways using slopes in order to really lock in all these brackets down in here that just sandwich all of that Technic right at the end here and give it an extra boost of strength and stability. So here I can show you the door looks like it coming down. There's that. Obviously, when the ship is elevated higher, it'll be able to come down further. It's actually on the ratcheting hinges here, not the regular ones. I may end up switching that out, but I just like the durability that those give you for opening doors. And then, yeah, you can see back here I've actually managed to integrate a ball turret as well for this back section cannon here, which I'm really, really happy about, because I really wanted to be able to angle that and also aim it side to side to give it a little bit more of a usefulness than just having it be locked in like many of the LEGO versions have actually done. So yeah, the last thing to look at is the missile turrets, which or the rocket batteries up here, which I've replicated the function that the official UCS LEGO set had, where it's geared up so that you move one and both of them go opposing one another. So I'm incredibly happy with that, and I do think that it is sitting in roughly the correct place. And then the detail paneling that will come in here will have a section that lifts up and becomes the carrying handle. So that is going to be absolutely amazing. To be able to just easily pick up a gunship that is this detailed, pick it up by a handle, and just move it around should be something to behold if I actually manage to pull it off. But the engineering for that is, again, extremely tricky. So the other thing that I wanted to try to see if I could figure out is a way to remotely activate this from a different part of the ship rather than just having to manually turn one of these, because that just looks so cool. But with all of the stuff that still has to happen here with the attachment points for the wings, that's kind of a tall order, kind of a wish list item that I just am kind of fantasizing about being able to do, but I don't know if I will. But yeah, that's something that I kind of have in mind, because to be able to just do that and just kind of replicate the shot from Attack of the Clones would be very cool. But again, may not end up being physically possible for my skills at least. But yeah, so that's at least, I'm really happy that at least I've matched what the UCS set has done and surpassed it in terms of accuracy and detail and the proportions, at least for the sections that I've completed so far. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty happy about all of that. And yeah, I have the ball joint in here, which took me a long time to figure out, so it's just very satisfying to see it in place now. So yeah, so we'll just kind of see where we go from here, because there are a lot of very strict design requirements to be able to lift this off the ground, keep the wings in place, and yeah, all that is going to be interesting. So wish me luck. We'll see what happens. Oh, and the other thing I did is I switched out finally that gray piece in there, so you can see that beautiful little yellow triangle poking out from exactly where it should be, surrounded by gray, as was intended. So yeah, really happy about that, and just overall thrilled with the progress so far. So yeah, I would love to know what you guys think, because this has been one of those things where I take a few steps forward, I realize that while I have something that looks maybe cool, I could do it better, strip it apart, do it again, and it's been a lot of that process throughout this. So yeah, definitely interested to know what you guys are thinking about the results so far, because yeah, it's coming along. Oh yeah, one other tiny little detail I forgot to mention is down in here, I even went so far as to include the ceiling illumination. So there are 4 lights represented in here, because whenever you see the gunship in the movies from this low angle, you can see that there are lights, rows of lights all along the ceiling there, and I just wanted to replicate that if I could. And I guess the other thing I wanted to show you while we're here is stability. So if you want to pick this up from here, you can, but I wouldn't. So the best thing to do, you can just grab it from anywhere under here, This entire central spine is incredibly strong. If you take out the minifigures here, you can literally just pick it up from anywhere. And even from the front section here, again, that is all Technic right the way through, and it's supported from multiple points. So I would say that this is going to be a kind of zone of fragility for this model, which is why it's really important to me to have the carry handle. But you can also pick it up from underneath, and I have been doing so all week from anywhere, and it holds up absolutely fine. There's no issues there. Of course, I don't have the weight of the wings on there just yet, so this section at the back may end up being unduly stressed if you pick it up from here. But of course, anywhere towards the front here is very well supported. All that frame and everything that goes down through here, right the way through that section, is keeping it all nice and sturdy. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of kind of caveats, I guess, with with this, more so than my usual UCS ones, but I think, or ultimate playset scale models. But I think that in the end, there's going to be only a couple of points of, like, you know, maybe don't pick it up from right there, which is, I think, reasonable for any Lego model. I mean, it is Lego, and the look that we're trying to get here is really something special, so I think it's worth it. So let me attach some laser beams to this, and we can just take a look at the glorious full spread of fire before we wrap up the video. All right, there you go. So I've attached lasers to all of the current existing cannons on this thing to give you an idea of the raw firepower that this thing brings to the battlefield. So there's a shorter one at the back there, and then you got the wide spread kind of you know, repeating action laser cannons at the front here. And yeah, it looks great. I think when I have the final stand design kind of figured out and everything, and it's going to be tilted forward, having all these laser beams and, you know, positioning some droids being destroyed down on the ground will be very cool indeed, and I think will really give you that epic look that this thing is just packing an absolute punch. So yeah, really pleased with the ability to do all of that. And I think that's going to do it. So let me know what you guys think. This has been such a fun and rewarding project so far, and I'm just absolutely so excited to finish it up and bring it to you guys, because it's getting close. Yeah, so I'm going to get back to work. I have lots more to do, obviously, and we'll see how I do for next week, or whenever I get this next update out. And thank you guys so much for watching so far. So we're 2 episodes down. I think episode 3 will be the finale, at least for the episode 2 version. Sorry, that was a confusing sentence. For the Attack of the Clones version of this ship, I think episode 3 will be the finale. And then after that, if I do end up adapting this or doing any other versions from, you know, various other Clone Wars iterations and stuff like that, then obviously we'll see from then on. But the main series, I think, and the core model should be wrapped up in a couple of weeks, maybe. But yeah, that's it from me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It's kind of a rambly one today because I was just sort of jumping around all over to all the different things that I've been working on. But I've been working on a lot of stuff, you know, so it's I want to make sure that I call everything out and don't miss out any of the fun details, because there are so many on this already, and it's just really fun to craft those, and it would be a shame not to talk about them. So yeah. Oh, and of course I did forget one thing. So I actually did successfully gear up the doors to where if you open one, they both open. So I had a prototype of that working. However, due to the geometry of Lego gears, they don't meet up exactly symmetrically. So when you close one door, the other one would always be slightly more open or slightly more closed. And there's just no way that I know of in the space that I have to gear it up in such a way that would not happen. And the other thing is it provides a little bit of a stress on the back section of the doors because it was being driven from the front arm only. So sometimes there would be a little bit of a grinding kind of catching thing where the back section here wouldn't lift out appropriately. So I'm just going to leave it as a manually controlled door, but I did try valiantly to attach some gears right under here to figure out a way to get that to open simultaneously, kind of like what I'm doing up here with the missiles. But hey, at least I got the missiles in there, so that's something. All right, guys, so yeah, I'm gonna go off and work very hard to finish this up for you guys. Of course, instructions will be on the way once everything is taken care of and once the model is finished. And yeah, then you guys can get your hands on it, your greedy little hands, and you can build yourself up an army of of LAAT gunships. I do hope that this is going to not end up being a super expensive model, although there are a lot of large and specialized pieces, especially Technic, in here, and that does tend to drive the price up. So we'll see how expensive this ends up being, but hopefully, I mean, it's not going to be anywhere near like my Ghost or my Stinger Mantis or anything like that. So hopefully this will end up being one of the more reasonably priced luxury gunships on the market, but we'll see. All right, guys, so yeah, I'm off. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next one, and may the force be with you.